Most people think toxic people are the problem. They're not. Your reaction is. Because toxic people don't need strength. They need access. Access to your emotions, your attention, your energy, and the moment you give them that, you've already lost. But here's the twist. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to expose them. You don't even have to respond. Because there's a way to make toxic people destroy their own influence without saying a single word. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. And the more you try to fight them, the more powerful they become. But here's the truth. No one teaches you. You don't defeat toxic people by confronting them. You don't win by explaining yourself. You don't escape by proving them wrong. You win by becoming unavailable to their game. And when you do that, something strange happens. They begin to unravel. On their own. Without you saying a word. Toxic people don't think like you. They don't communicate to understand. They communicate to control. Every conversation, every reaction, every emotional shift you show is data. And they use that data to manipulate outcomes in their favor. This is not always conscious, but it is consistent. And this is where most people lose, because you assume, if I just explain myself clearly, they'll understand. But toxic people don't seek understanding. They seek leverage. Your anger? Leverage. Your frustration? Leverage. Even your kindness becomes leverage. This is why arguing never works, because the moment you engage, you've already stepped into their frame. And in their frame, they set the rules. Think about this carefully. Why do some people keep provoking you, even when it makes no logical sense? Why repeat the same behaviors over and over again? Because your reaction is their reward. Psychologically, this ties into what Carl Jung called the shadow, the parts of themselves they refuse to face. So instead, they project it onto you. Your reaction becomes a mirror they can manipulate. If you react emotionally, they feel powerful. If you defend yourself, they feel in control. If you try to fix things, they feel superior. But if you don't react, if you stay calm, grounded, unmoved, something breaks. Non-reaction is not weakness. It is not suppression. It is not letting them win. It is removing yourself from the game entirely, because a toxic person without your reaction has nothing to feed on. And when there's no emotional return, they start escalating. At first, they push harder, say sharper things, try new angles, because they are trying to get you back into the loop, back into the cycle. But if you stay steady, if you don't bite, they begin to experience something unfamiliar, loss of control. Silence confuses toxic people, because silence doesn't give them information. No reaction means they can't read you. They can't predict you. They can't manipulate you. And unpredictability is the one thing control-driven people cannot handle. So what do? They start revealing themselves more clearly, more openly, because now they're trying to force a response. And in that process, they expose patterns they once hid. Watch closely. This is the turning point. When a toxic person realizes they can't control you anymore, they don't become calm, they become unstable. You'll see contradictions, emotional swings, desperation, passive aggression, sudden kindness, followed by hostility. Why? Because their system is breaking. The strategy that once worked no longer does. And without your reaction to stabilize their behavior, they collapse into their own chaos. One of the biggest traps is the need for closure, the need to explain, to understand, to end things properly. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Closure with toxic people is often just another doorway back into the cycle, because they will use that conversation to reopen wounds, to shift blame, to regain emotional access. Real closure is internal. It's the moment you decide, I no longer participate. Without announcement, without explanation, just withdrawal. Detachment doesn't mean you don't feel. It means your feelings no longer control your behavior. You may still feel anger, hurt, confusion, but you don't act on it impulsively. You observe it. And in that space between feeling and reaction, you reclaim your power. Because toxic people rely on impulsive reactions. They need you to respond instantly, emotionally, predictably. But when you slow down, pause, and choose silence instead, you break the pattern, and they will. Not always aggressively, sometimes subtly. A message, a casual check-in, a just thinking about you. But it's not random. It's a test. To see if they still have access. And this is where many people fall back in, because time has passed, emotions have softened, and you think, maybe they've changed. But change isn't proven through words. It's proven through consistent behavior over time. And if nothing has fundamentally shifted, engaging again just resets the cycle. This is important. This is not about revenge, not about proving you're stronger, not about making them suffer, because if that's your goal, you're still emotionally tied to them, and that is still a form of control. Real power is indifference, not forced, not fake, but genuine. The moment their actions no longer disturb your peace, they lose influence, completely. At some point, you stop asking, how do I deal with them? And you start asking, why did I allow this for so long? And that question changes everything. Because now, the focus is no longer on them. It's on you, your boundaries, your awareness, your self-respect. And once that shifts, you don't just neutralize toxic people, you stop attracting them. So here's the question. What happens when you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, stop defending, stop engaging, and simply become still? Who loses power first? Them, or the version of you that used to need their validation? Think about that, because the moment you truly understand it, you don't just change how you deal with toxic people, you change how you show up in every relationship for the rest of your life. If this shifted something in you, don't ignore it, because moments like this, they don't come often. That quiet realization, that subtle awareness, that maybe the way you've been reacting is exactly what's been keeping you stuck. Sit with that. Not everything needs an immediate answer. Not everything needs action. Some things just need to be seen clearly. So don't rush past this feeling. Don't distract yourself out of it. Let it settle. Let it change something in you. Because real growth doesn't happen in noise. It happens in awareness, in stillness, in the moments where you choose differently without announcing it to the world. So if you feel that shift, subscribe. Not for more content, not for more noise, but for clarity, for reminders like this, when you need them most. And tell me in the comments. Be honest with yourself. What's harder for you? Staying silent, when everything in you wants to react, or letting go, when a part of you still wants to hold on? No right answer, just awareness. And maybe that's where your power begins.